Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Emily,
And I'm Whitney.
and you're listening to Cousins Talk Crime. You're listening to a true crime podcast. Today's episode may include sensitive or triggering topics. These topics may include domestic abuse, child abuse, substance abuse, sexual assault, torture, murder, and suicide.
The turkey smells getting better. Or we're getting used to it.
All right, Whitney, what you got going on?
If you guys notice, we have a little different setup tonight.
Yeah, for spooky Halloween. Woo.
We are at my house and we can smell turkey barns.
It's nice. It's
a good turkey smell.
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying that, but I like the nature and the
Yeah, we're in the outdoors tonight. So
Oh,
if
yeah.
you hear anything creepy behind us or if you see anything creepy, alert us.
I wouldn't put it past the people in this house
to come out and
sneak
scare
around
us.
and scare us.
Mm-hmm.
I would
for
not
sure.
put it past them. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready to
I wasn't, but I am
my
now.
pants. At least we're on their furniture.
Right.
Yeah, so if you're listening on Spotify, we are out on the patio at Whitney's house, just feeling the spooky vibes for Halloween. We've got some Halloween themed episodes that we're recording tonight.
That happened on Halloween.
Yes. Ooh, spooky. Do you have anything going on?
Nope, just work and kids, per usual. What about you? You're leaving for vacation.
Yes, leaving for vacation on Sunday.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Then we're going to be there for a week, and that'll be fun.
Do you want to tell the listeners where you're going, or is it secret?
No, we're going to Gulf Shores. We're just missing the Post Malone concert. I feel like people know how much I love Post Malone.
Yeah.
And we are missing a Post Malone concert, but...
If anyone wants to buy me Taylor Swift tickets,
yes,
please do, and send them to me.
Yeah, if you're a
if you have extra
listener,
money, like $5,000 laying around, buy me a ticket.
Yeah. I'm gonna go see Taylor Swift. I saw that they're like putting her decal up on the hotel that's by Lucas Oil Stadium, so they're getting all.
Yeah. Tickets right now are $3,000 or $4,000.
Holy crap!
I mean, that's the low. That's the cheap. That's the low
the
seat.
Nosebleeds.
That's the cheapest you can get. I saw someone on Facebook selling 2 for $11,000.
What in the world? I do not like Taylor Swift that much.
You watch your mouth.
You watch your mouth. I mean, she's fine, but I definitely wouldn't be spending $11,000 on 2 tickets.
Right.
Even if I could afford it.
Yeah. No, me either.
No, you would if you could afford it.
Right, if I could. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Shoot. I wonder if people are actually paying those prices, or if the scalpers are just like
trying their hardest. Well, I think Lucas Oil, I'm pretty sure that's her last.
Her last stop on the tour?
I think. I could be wrong. I think. Maybe. No, your mom says no. It's not. It's close, though.
We have our moms here. Hi, moms.
They are watching us right across from us.
Yeah, they're right behind the cameras. If it was an easy task, I would put them on camera, but
they don't want to be on camera. They said
they don't want to be. We would have posted them right next to us. We would have just had we'll have like a Mother's Day special.
Yeah, and make them get in.
And then we'll talk about murders and stuff that happened on Mother's Day.
Yep. Daughters killing mothers. Okay, that's too far.
Okay.
Too much.
All righty.
That's not funny.
So, this week,
is Halloween. So when this one releases, it'll be Halloween.
When you guys listen to this,
When you
it's
guys
Halloween.
listen, this week will be Halloween.
Yep.
So are you guys in the Halloween spirit? Are you dressing up with your kids this year?
I'm probably not dressing up, no. The only thing I typically will do is like throw in some cat ears or something.
Cat ears or something?
Mm-hmm. Some
I bet those are cute.
whiskers.
All right. Let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode is going to be about a murder that happens on Halloween. And this is going to be the case that started kind of like the panic behind people being afraid of people poisoning candy. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, don't take candy that's not sealed. Don't take homemade candy. You never know if something's laced with something. This is kind of the case where that whole fear was brought into everybody's mind. So let's talk about it. First, I'm just going to take you guys through the day, and then we'll move on from that. So the day is October 31st, 1974, in Deer Creek, Texas. Deer Creek, I guess, is like a suburb of Houston.
Oh.
So not far out of Houston. And the day started off like your typical Halloween. The children went to school. They were super excited about dressing up and going trick-or-treating at the end of the day. It was just a good day. Do you remember like that kind of feeling
at
school?
Fun day.
I do. I remember being so excited.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you go do all the trick-or-treating stuff. And then you usually have parties and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all day at school, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how stuff was back in the 70s, but me growing up, I remember it that way. So I assume it's something of the sort. So that evening, a 30-year-old father named Ronald Clark O'Brien decided to take his two kids trick-or-treating. His two kids were Timothy and Elizabeth. Timothy was 8 years old, and Elizabeth was 5 years old. And then a friend of Ronald's, Jim Bates, tagged along and brought his two children as well. So we've got two dads taking their 4 kids.
Sorry, I keep hearing someone stepping back behind us. Sorry.
Ferdinand's not busy doing anything.
No, yeah.
Daniel's doing all the work.
Right. I'm sorry, I kept hearing footsteps.
You did?
Yeah.
All right. So we've got two dads and their 4 kids going out trick-or-treating. Just your typical stuff. That doesn't seem out of the ordinary, right?
No.
Okay.
Kinda.
Well, it is kind of out of the ordinary because where are the moms?
Right.
Dad's actually stepping up and taking their kids trick-or-treating. That's wild.
Mm-hmm. Sounds weird.
That does sound weird. But these are just like really good dads, I guess. I don't know. So the group had a great evening together trick-or-treating. They only went to a few local neighborhoods that they were comfortable with. They didn't go anywhere where they like didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, you go to the neighborhoods that you know. You don't just randomly go.
Yeah.
You just don't randomly go somewhere. Are you still hearing stuff?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Are you, Mom? Okay, maybe it's just me.
I think Whitney's paranoid, guys. We're a little too spooky out here, I guess. Is it my mom fidgeting over there?
Are you tapping your... Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so they were going to their neighborhoods.
Yes, they're going to neighborhoods that they're comfortable with and that they know. And that evening before bed, Ronald told his kids, Elizabeth and Timothy, that they could choose one piece of candy, like from their stash, that they could eat before bed. Just as a treat. It's Halloween.
Right.
You can eat a piece of candy before you go to bed. I'm not sure what candy Elizabeth chose, but Timothy chose a pixie stick. You know those pixie sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure the pixie stick that he had was not just like your typical little pixie stick with like the paper. It was the big long ones that are made out of like plastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And powdered all on the inside.
Yeah. That's what he decided he wanted to have before he went to bed. Dad said you could pick whatever you want. He wasn't fighting him. Now, according to Ronald O'Brien, it was not 30 seconds after he left Timothy's room for the evening when he heard Timothy crying out for him in pain. Timothy was in agonizing pain and convulsing and vomiting in the bathroom. And after so much time convulsing and vomiting, he just went completely limp, like lifeless pretty much. And so his dad was like, okay, well, I guess we need to go to the hospital. I don't think he realized that it was as bad as it was. And so they're taking him to the hospital, and unfortunately, Timothy passed away in the car on the way to the hospital. It was within an hour after he consumed the pixie stick that
He was
he
gone.
was dead. I don't think that they realized at first that the pixie stick was
The call.
what happened here. When Timothy's body was brought to the morgue, the medical examiner noticed a strange smell coming from Timothy's mouth. Do either of you know anything about poisoning and if a certain poison makes a certain smell? No? Okay. Well, I'm just wondering. I thought maybe you guys would know this. During the medical examiner, when they were about to do his autopsy, that kind of stuff, he smelled the smell of almonds coming from Timothy's mouth. I thought that was odd. Almonds. That's weird. But apparently it's not weird. It's not odd. It's a telltale sign of cyanide poisoning. So they knew pretty much right away what was going on. And the autopsy later confirmed that Timothy had consumed enough potassium cyanide to kill 2 to 3 grown men. The authorities immediately confiscated the pixie sticks that the group had possession of, and luckily no one else in the group had consumed any of the pixie sticks, just Timothy.
Did the other ones have it in them?
Yes, they did.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sure there was a public service announcement or something that was sent out to the town that said, if you have a pixie stick, don't eat it. Probably even said just don't even eat any Halloween candy.
Yeah, at all.
At all. I'm sure something like that went out, but I didn't dive that deep into it. When examining the pixie sticks that the group had received, they were able to determine that someone had replaced the top 2 inches of each stick with granules of cyanide. And when starting the investigation, they called in the 2 dads, Ronald O'Brien and Jim Bates, so that they could retrace their steps and they could figure out which house that they came from. Sometimes, though, people throw them in and you don't realize, but these were big pixie sticks. These weren't just little ones, these were big pixie sticks.
Yeah.
So it'd be easier to figure out where they came from. And apparently, early on in the evening, the group knocked on the door of a home and got no response. They either weren't home or they weren't accepting trick-or-treaters. So after a while of waiting for someone to come to the door, the group gave up and they left to go on to the next house. But Timothy's dad, Ronald, stuck behind. And when he finally caught up to the group, he was holding a handful of those pixie sticks. It was 5 of them. He was holding on to 5 of them. And he said, they eventually came to the door and they wanted to apologize for being late to the door, so they gave us the good candy. They gave us the good candy, the big pixie sticks. You know, they were excited about the pixie sticks because, I don't know, it may have been a newish type thing. They were extravagant treats. I don't know. But they were excited about these pixie sticks. And when they got back to Jim Bates's house, the friend, he divvied up the pixie sticks amongst the kids and gave one of them to a random trick-or-treater that they...
One random trick-or-treater got one.
Yes. One random trick-or-treater got one of these large pixie sticks because he had 5 of them and there was only 4 kids. So one random kid got one. And I read where the parents of the 5th child, the random trick-or-treater, became hysterical when they could not locate the candy after they were notified by the police. And the parents rushed upstairs to find their son asleep holding the pixie stick. And he couldn't get into it because it was stapled. Someone had restapled it and he couldn't get it open and he just fell asleep holding it. So he was very close to consuming this pixie stick.
You'd have a heart attack.
Oh, yeah, she did. She did. The parents of them absolutely did. Now, when asking Ronald what house it was that gave him these, he kept giving conflicting information, which Jim Bates was like, I know where you got it from. You said you got it from this house of people. But he's like, oh, no, that's not where I got it. But Jim's like, yeah, that's where you got it. Like, that's where you said you got it. Why are you changing your story now? You said it was this house. I was here. We were knocking on this house, and it was his house. All right, so let me tell you about Ronald a little bit. The father. Ronald was 30 years old. He was married to a woman named Dayneen, and they had 2 beautiful kids, Timothy and Elizabeth. He worked as an optician at a local eye doctor. He was a deacon at the Baptist church that him and his family went to, and he even sang in the church choir. Ronald's pastor described him as a good Christian man and an above-average father. They were your all-American family. I mean, they were. They went to church. They did all the right things. They had a boy. They had a girl. Like, it was...
I have a question.
Yes.
Was it his son that died or the other one?
It was his son that died.
Okay.
Yeah, but his son died.
Sorry, I was just... I couldn't remember what dad was which kids.
Yeah, and so as they're, trying to decide if they need to suspect this Ronald O'Brien guy, they're trying to decide, what do you have to gain from killing your own child?
Right.
I'm asking myself that question right now in our current news and home state. What do you have to gain by killing your own child?
Nothing.
So when the investigators did take a look closer into Ronald, they found that everything wasn't as good as Ronald was convincing everyone that it was. So Ronald had a hard time holding down a job. He had worked for 21 different companies within a 10-year period. That averages to less than 6 months for one company each. And he was fired from each for either negligent or fraudulent behavior. He didn't ever quit. He was always fired for stealing or just not showing up to work. He had a hard time. In the fall of 1974, he was on the brink of losing his current job at Texas State Optical. His employer suspected him of stealing money. His take-home pay was $150 a week, and it was barely enough to cover rent and food for his family. I could not find much about his wife. I don't think that she said much about this whole situation. Hi, baby. You want to purr in the mic? Oh, thank you.
Mario loves giving kisses.
He can. This is a little chaotic episode, but I love it. I'm here for it. And at the time, in the 1970s, I feel like this is a lot, but he had around $100,000 in debt. I don't know if that includes a house as well, but $100,000 in debt in 1970s, I think, was pretty significant. I mean, houses weren't even that expensive.
Right.
In the 70s, I don't think. Ronald had defaulted on several bank loans, and his car was about to be repossessed. So I'm wondering, what is he doing with all his money? Does he have a gambling addiction? You'd think if you were this much in debt, you'd have stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they lived an extravagant life.
Right.
So
his money's going somewhere.
Where is all this money going to? I don't know. So Ronald was in that stage of crippling debt where people would go to extremes to release themselves from it. And investigators found where Robert had recently taken out multiple life insurance policies for his children.
Oh, good Lord. I knew that was coming.
I'm wondering, because I just may be stupid when it comes to this type of stuff, but aren't life insurance policies there to support someone after they die because they had a financial... how do you take out life insurance on kids that
You can take them out on anybody.
That don't bring any money into the...
No, you can take them out on anyone.
I'm going to take mine out on everybody. Just so that...
Yeah, you can.
I'm not going to kill you, but when you die, I'm going to get some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. Anyway, so he had taken out multiple life insurance policies on his children recently before this happened. And investigators also found a piece of adding machine tape.
What is adding machine tape?
Adding machine tape. Mom, you remember at work you used to have like a calculator thing that had like receipt paper in it? And you just like, it's like a typewriter but with just numbers and calculating.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm picturing it is. It's just like receipt paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little.
I used to have one at Twist and Shake, I think.
Oh, okay. Twist and shake. So yeah, he had written on there all of his different loans that he had and all of the different things that he owed people so that he could see how much money he was in debt. And if you add up everything that he had in debt, it is almost exactly the amount of money that he took out on his 2 children for their life insurance policies. Investigators also learned that Ronald had inquired with several chemical companies on where to buy cyanide and even jokingly asked them how much it would take to kill a person. Because back then we didn't have Google, we didn't have that type of stuff. And yeah, so he's calling people asking these legitimate questions. And they also found a pocket knife in his home that had candy residue on it, and that's suggesting that that's the knife that he used to open and like, you know, put.
So he was gonna kill all these kids.
Yeah, he was ready to kill 5 children.
All of it had it in there, and he gave it to a random one too.
Yeah, just a random kid.
And then his best friend's 2 kids.
He wasn't getting any money from those 3 kids.
He was
just collateral damage. It can't just be 2 because then that would be too suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
But a random kid, like you're that evil that a random kid you'd come up to and be like, here you go. Anyway.
So it really wasn't stranger danger.
No.
Typically isn't.
No, it's not, typically. Ronald played the role of grieving father well and maintained his innocence. However, after failing a polygraph exam, Ronald was arrested on November 5th, 1974 for the murder of his son Timothy. It only took them 6 days to figure this out.
Yeah.
Or actually 5 by that time.
Did his daughter not eat it?
Mm-mm. That wasn't the candy she chose that night. She chose a different candy. She probably would have ate that one next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't coax the whole group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised too. Why go through all that trouble and then let her pick a different piece? Maybe he knew she'd eat it eventually.
Yeah. I don't think... See...
Maybe he didn't think they'd all put 2 and 2 together so quickly. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Now, this is according to a forensic psychologist and private investigator named Joni Johnston. Poisoners as a group typically lack empathy, evidenced by the premeditated nature that it takes in which to kill the people that they're trying to kill, and the cold calculating strategy they often use. Poisoning is also an instrument for someone who is kind of cunning and sneaky, not somebody who is going to be physically or verbally aggressive. They are also more likely to be polite behind the scenes, and as a result, they tend to fool people. So yeah, he checks the boxes for someone that would do that. And I'm not going to really go into his trial because it was cut dry. There wasn't much question about it. But his trial was held in late May, early June of the next year, 1975. But after less than an hour of deliberations, the jury found Ronald O'Brien guilty for murdering his child Timothy, and he was sentenced to death. The defense did appeal to the Supreme Court, but none of their appeals were successful. And after they exhausted all of his appeals, he was executed by lethal injection on March 31st, 1984. So it took less than 10 years, which is not really heard of these days. Usually people are on death row for like 15 to 20 years before they actually get to that point. Now, some nicknames that Ronald is known for. He is known as the man who killed Halloween, the man who ruined Halloween for the world, and the Candyman. They said he did do it on Halloween specifically to try and make it an untraceable thing. My answer to that is, if you think you're smart and you're going to try to do this, and you want it to be untraceable, to not be able to figure out where you got the candy from, you don't put them in those giant ass pixie sticks. You put in something smaller.
Or
like you're going to know where you got those huge
something more
sticks.
common, like a Snickers.
You know, you're going to know where you got those giant
Where was
pixie
he
sticks.
hiding those giant pixie sticks?
Because I'm pretty sure this person that they went to's house that didn't answer, I'm pretty sure it was like their next door neighbor. So he probably went into his own house after they left him. Went into his own house,
And
his own
grabbed 'em.
garage, or his stuff, and put it all together real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's like, Jim Bates is like, you left the group for a while and came back with them pixie sticks. You tried to kill my children.
Right.
And an interesting fact, since people are so, I feel like a lot of people are afraid of this, of people poisoning candy and this type of thing. But an interesting fact that I found is that, according to what I saw on the internet, this is the only confirmed case of cyanide poisoning in Halloween candy ever reported. So it's something we're super duper scared of, like it happens all the time. But this is the only time it has ever been officially confirmed.
Yeah.
For Halloween
But I'm
candy.
sure this story, once it got out that kids, one died from being poisoned. I mean, no one knew the full story, that it was their own. It wasn't just a random person poisoning a bunch of candy.
Everybody across the country, I'm sure, was panicking.
Yeah.
And no kids in that town got to enjoy their Halloween candy that year, I'm sure.
Mm-mm.
Probably until...
And it took one guy killing his own kid to scare everybody.
Who is it? I'm gonna kick your butt.
It sounded like something fell, didn't it? I thought it sounded like a gunshot.
I thought it sounded like a skateboard.
I thought it sounded like a gunshot. We
I
got
thought
a
it sounded-
gunshot and a skateboard.
It's not season.
No, it sounded like it was here on your basketball court, and it was just like a...
Oh, that could have been it. I thought it sounded like a gunshot.
I'm not scared.
I'm not scared. I just wondered what it was. I thought it sounded like a gunshot.
But yeah, that's really all I have on this case. It is a famous one for the Halloween
I never
poisoning
heard
and
the
stuff.
full story on it.
I did know that there was something like this where someone did do this. And I feel like I knew they did it to their own kid. But yeah, 1974.
That was a good one. That was interesting.
Poison your own kid for life insurance money.
That is absolutely terrible. The lengths people will go for money.
Don't get yourself in financial ruin to where you have to consider killing your own children to get out. I mean, come on.
Right. Don't let that ever be the option. Well, thank you guys for tuning into this spooky episode.
Yes.
Halloween edition.
Yeah, I think we're going to release a special.
Scary
Yes, I think
Reddit story?
Yes, we're going to release a scary Reddit story on Halloween. We're going to do that.
And it's going to be really spooky.
It's going to be so spooky. Then Whitney's going to be scared out here.
Yeah.
She's going to be real scared. Well, thank you guys for listening, and have a safe and happy Halloween. Be safe out there. Don't eat any homemade treats. Don't accept pixie sticks. It's too easy.
Don't eat candy from your dad.
If your dad comes back from the group with candy, don't eat it, especially if it's a pixie stick.
One of those big old long ones.
Yeah, something I forgot to mention about this was the little boy, when he was eating the pixie stick, he was like, "Dad, it's so bitter. Like, it doesn't taste like candy." And so his dad went and got him Kool-Aid to help wash it down
Oh my gosh.
because it was bitter.
I didn't know.
I forgot
need to know
to.
that
I
detail.
forgot to put that in there.
I'm glad they put him to death.
He's gone. He's out of this world. I think he tried to maintain his innocence the entire time.
Of course.
Like, I don't think
did.
he ever tried to say that he actually did it. Oh, it's getting cold out here.
I got a heated blanket. I think it's off
Ooh.
now though.
That's
And I
nice.
got a thicker one too if you want it for next episode.
You're good. You're good. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye again.
Goodbye. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Have a safe Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.